Hey guys, it's your girl Shalae and I'm back today with another video. In today's video, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm in a place that you are unable to see, but I'm going to give you all the content. And when I tell you want to hear this, you definitely want to stay for this content. Now, we are going to discuss the monthly child tax credit. Guys, they're back. They are back on the table. Today, a new interview happened with the IRS commissioner and it went down with all the answers. We're also going to talk about how you can possibly receive a bill from the IRS. They're changing also the way that they audit and a whole lot more. So if you want to know what's going on with this tax season, child tax credit, and your refund, you already know what to do. Stay tuned. Your girl's got you covered. Now, if this is your first time tuning into my channel, hi, hello, hey friend. My name is Shalae. Normally I'm on the screen, friend, but here on this channel, we discuss shopping, saving, and everything in between. I would love to have you a part of my internet family. Super easy. Click the big old red subscribe button down below and you're in just like that. And while you're at it, if you are not an Amazon Prime member, guys, you can try out Amazon Prime free on me. All you have to do is click the link above or in the cards down below. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump right into it because today the IRS commissioner was in the hot seat. That is right. You can go and watch the full interview, but different members of Congress was asking him questions in regards to the child tax credit. And first he answered and he said, look, I'm paying close attention to the legislation and would be able to process the expanded credits and deductions within a matter of weeks. So that is great news. He also added that the IRS could potentially do so within this current filing season, which just opened up on January 29th. He said we may be able to start implementation as early as 6 to 12 weeks after passage while testifying before the lawmakers, adding that the agency could act closer to the 6-week mark end of that range. So I think that is great news. But what's even better news as well is he said, look, you know, the Democrats have been very vocal in their support of expanding the child tax credit, which some people wanted administered in the form of a monthly paycheck as opposed to a lump sum. Now, the monthly payments does have more a power to change working people all over the country. And he's absolutely correct. That $300 or $400 a month does a lot more versus that annual payment, because you know, and I know, once you get those taxes, a lot of times, hey, you're taking that trip you were unable to take, you know, you're buying different things, paying off stuff, before you know it, the money is gone. But the monthly payment would work out a whole lot better. But you let me know, which one would you like? Now, he also said Republicans in the Senate have said that the child tax credit expansion should come with increased work requirements for recipients. Now, a Democratic aide to the Senate Finance Committee, they did tell the Hill yesterday that no decisions have been made just yet in the Senate markup for the bill, but the chair, Ron Wyden, a Democrat from Oregon, is still in talks with the majority leader, Chuck Schumer, as well about the bill's future. So to me, this is great news. The fact that the IRS commissioner is on the same page. He's like, look, I can have them their money back. So for everyone that has filed taxes, great job, right? And if you are entitled some additional funds, then you would be able to get it hopefully within that 6-week mark, but monthly payments are not off the table. Now let's go ahead and move on, because also they talked about in this interview that businesses are nervous about losing the employee tax credit. Well, the employee retention tax credit. Now, to pay for the child tax credit, if they do expand it, they're looking at the tax breaks for businesses, and the legislation proposed to go ahead and end the pandemic era employee retention tax credit program. Now, lawmakers say that this has become pretty much filled with like fraud and a lot of aggressive marketing and promotions as well. So if you're unaware, the employee retention tax credit, this is a tax credit that was created during the pandemic to help businesses keep their employees on payroll. Now, it is available for businesses of all sizes, but you must have like a significant decline in your money or revenue during the pandemic. Also, you had to have like your business in operation before February 15th of 2020. But the main thing is you must have like a significant decline in money from March 12th of 2020 through about December 31st of 2021. Now, the businesses must have paid qualified wages to the employees during this period. But guys, let me go ahead and tell you about this one, right? The amount of the employee retention tax credit, it is 50% of qualified wages with a maximum amount of $10,000 per employee. So this credit can actually be claimed on the business's tax return. This credit can be claimed on the business's tax return, but let me say that again, up to $10,000 per employee. So this is refundable, which means like even if the business doesn't owe anything in taxes, we had this lesson yesterday in the video, if they don't owe $0 in taxes, they can still get that $10,000 per employee. So this is why they're getting like a lot of fraud. And what Congress is saying, like, we're going to pay this money for the child tax credit. Let's stop this, because as of right now, there's so many businesses that are claiming this credit. They're benefiting from this credit. And so some of the lawmakers said, well, I had a constituent who contacted me and they're nervous about losing the credit because they're like, if they lose the credit, their business may not survive. But in January, the IRS had a whistleblower where they said that 95% of new employee retention credit claims, they were close to fraudulent. They were fraudulent. So that's 95%. I mean, think about it, guys. If you get $10,000 per employee and there's no kind of checks and balances, and you know, a lot of times during the pandemic, people were receiving like $600 for unemployment. They were doing all those things. You still can get that $10,000 per employee. You think businesses aren't taking advantage of it? Yeah, they're taking advantage. And so the IRS said there are so many ineligible claims which was coming in. It's getting harder to separate what's ineligible and what's eligible. So they're paying out money, $10,000 per employee for these businesses that have under 500 employees. So yeah, if they can stop that, give us $10,000. And it's interesting how they want to, you know, pick and choose when they pick the pandemic program. So they don't want pandemic EBT, but we can still keep the pandemic employee retention tax credit. How ironic. Okay, let's move on. Now, in the interview, they also talked about the frustrations over the 1099K reporting requirements. So a lot of Republicans said that the threshold for reporting on third-party apps, which was lowered to $600, has been delayed by the IRS. But a lot of them are still saying that $20,000 for this tax year would be lowered to $5,000 for next tax year, and then it will be taken down to $600 in 2025. And so they're saying the continued delay of this announcement is illegal. And they said that, hey, it looks like you are blatantly not enforcing the law. So remember, we talked about this, that if you pretty much like get money on Venmo, eBay, Cash App, Etsy, all those things, if it's over $600, you will eventually start getting a 1099K, and you will have to start paying taxes on that money. It's supposed to go into effect this year. Then they were like, no, so next year they're going to take it to $5,000, and then in 2025, it'll go to that $600. But hey, the Republicans are like, no, they wanted them to enforce that law this year, which, I mean, some people may be getting over, but let me know, what do you guys think about that? All right, so let's go ahead and move on. They also talked about in this interview where they're blasting the direct fire pilot program. So a lot of Republicans are not happy about the IRS that's offering their new free file. Pretty much it's like their software for taxes as well. They're saying that why should you go ahead and why should we spend millions of dollars into this program when there are public alternative commercial tax prep services? So they're saying for this program with all the AI and different things, this can cost them almost around like $80 million. And so they're like, why are we doing this when you have like TurboTax, you have H&R Block, you have Jackson Hewitt. Was this something that the IRS really needed to get involved in, or could that money have been placed elsewhere? And then they also talked about just like the IRS funding boost and the need for more money, as well as like the Government Accountability Office. But this interview, if you can go back and watch it, it was a really good interview. And to me, I felt like it was good news. It answered a lot of those questions that we had regarding the child tax credit, those questions regarding pretty much like the eBay as well as Cash App. And then it also answered those questions on this free file that the IRS is pretty much trying to push as well. So I thought it was great news. Now, also, the IRS has released some correspondence today that you might be one of the 3.7 million people getting a letter from them. But if you do, don't panic. So after a lengthy pause due to the pandemic, the IRS is now about to start sending out their collection letters again. But if you get one of these notices in the mail, it's like, look, don't worry too much. It does not mean that you're being audited, but they also now have where automated reminder notices, they started going out in January, and you should start receiving them in the mail within the next few weeks. As well as they said 3.7 million taxpayers have an outstanding bill from 2020 or 2021, and you're expected to receive these notices. They are known as LT38 notices, which simply provides like an update on any outstanding balance that you have and the way to resolve that debt as well. So it is not a notice of an audit, but you still owe them. Okay, and they want their money. So if you receive the notice, they're letting you know that during the pandemic, some of those collection notices were suspended, but now they're back to normal operations, and they want to provide you an update on your outstanding balance, as well as they want you to stay informed on like their self-service options, how you can resolve it. Once again, it's not an audit, but if you get this letter, obviously you want to read it, follow the instructions, file any missing tax returns if there are any, pay any unpaid balances so you don't get like any interest or penalties as well. But if you cannot pay the balance in full, the IRS does have like payment plans available this to you. You can also like temporarily delay the collection until your financial situation improves. But usually the letter will say that you have like 21 days to respond. So if you get it, like, don't ignore it. And I mean, isn't this funny now that the IRS is sending letters? We also have like Social Security sending out letters and notices. Like, I don't know where they think we got this money from, but that's what's going on. But speaking of audits, the IRS is weighing in on their audit selection algorithm, and they're doing this for low-income taxpayer credits as well. So remember back in September, they said that they were going to reduce the number of audits on low-income tax credits as well. So now they announced that they're finally taking those steps to address the inequity. So they announced that they're going to have like significant and dramatic reduction in the number of earned income tax credit audits this upcoming tax season. They're testing out some changes to the audit selection, and they're going to like remediate the disparate impact that has been occurring. So I don't know if you guys seen, but they had where Black Americans were roughly like 3 to 5 times more likely to face an IRS audit than any other taxpayer. And they had this study that was released by like economists from like Stanford, University of Michigan, the U.S. Department of Treasury, as well as the University of Chicago. They had this back in 2023, and the report had pointed that it was due to like faulty software algorithms, that was used by the agency, but they noted that the earned income tax credit contributed a lot to this. So in May, they had confirmed the findings. They sent the letter to the Senate Finance Committee, and they addressed the issue, and pretty much like now they're reaffirming that they're going to address this issue, reduce the number of so-called correspondent audits, especially like exams by mail for earned income tax credit claimants as well. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this works out as well. Then last thing that they had, which was the IRS update disaster victims in their states. You have to file your 2022 taxes by tomorrow. So if you lived in an area that was affected by a disaster in 2022, and that was like, you know, in Hawaii, I think we had like Hurricane Idalia, Hurricane Lee, but pretty much they took place between August 8th and October 9th of 2022, and it spanned from like Florida to Maine. They do have like a list of impacted cities from Florida, Georgia, Guam, Hawaii, Louisiana. They have where you can actually go on the IRS website, and they will have where you can now start to submit your information. But as long as it was a disaster area, then you have to go ahead and start filing those taxes. I think they gave like a year or so to go ahead and file those as well. So let me know, what do you guys think? I know I've been receiving some emails from people, and they said that they're still getting audited, but it's more from the fraud factor before releasing their tax refunds. What do you think about the monthly payments coming back? What do you think about the $600 for Cash App, Venmo? Are you conducting business, or are you just, you know, don't want to pay, you know, Western Union or MoneyGram? Let me know all the things down below. Do you like me not being on camera? Like, let me know, because I don't have to show up, y'all. I don't have to, you know, give y'all the look of the day. All right, let me know all the things, as well as grab you some Amazon Prime. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and I will talk to you later, Gator. Bye, guys.